somebody said in the comment section that in order to get a Christian president, you have to have a Christian nation. The people have to themselves be Christian, and then they're that commenter is absolutely right.
Yeah.
And so for me, like that's why I think the things that I do, the things that you two are doing, the things that Keisha and Chuck are doing, and people that are Christians, real Christians working in the media space, who are on social media, who are in music and television and academia. This is why our job and our role is so important, is because we can't rely on some politician getting into office and passing legislation, passing laws, forcing people to act like Christians. The only way that can be done is on a peer-to-peer level. And so the thing is, the hope is that enough people being believers will use their civic responsibility and civic duty in such a way from the ground up to implement standards at the local level and state level, and hopefully eventually the federal level, that are in keeping with some idea of structure and stability and security, and freedom. But what we have right now is you have this thing that they call progress, which isn't really progress at all, which embraces LGBT propaganda and ideology, which embraces downright Satanism, and they're calling that progress. But we are on a road to serfdom. We are on a road to globalism. And unfortunately, the powers that be who are at work shaping public opinion in terms of what progress is, which consists of those things I just mentioned, a lot of your Republican and Democrat politicians are made to acquiesce to those standards, either loosely or directly, directly or indirectly, if that makes sense. And so you'll see people like Trump and other Republican politicians kind of, veer so far from that Overton window, but yet still stay within it so as to not be totally unappealing to the larger society, which unfortunately is being indoctrinated day in and day out through our entertainment system, through our education system, through academia, through journalism, through so on and so forth. It's so hegemonic and penetrative and pause. It's so inundative and so pervasive, and it's everywhere, this idea of progress, that a lot of people believe it. And if you are someone like myself or someone like Blanche, and you come along and you call yourself running for office, and you're saying the things that we say on Cutting Through the Culture, you're talking about personal responsibility, you're talking about we shouldn't be giving money to HBCUs, and we shouldn't be investing in any kind of so-called opportunity zone nonsense. We shouldn't be, there's no such thing as a black job. If you come along saying something like this, you'll be laughed out of court, because the masses of people, their brains are acclimated to a socialist system, acclimated to a globalist ideology. And the kind of things that we say on Cutting Through the Culture is like a foreign language to most people. And so you have to connect with people on a peer-to-peer level, and hope that will spread before you get anywhere near the political realm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think Trump even he actually said that. He's, when the abortion question comes up, like he says, I hear you got to stick to your guns, but you got to win elections. I mean, unfortunately, like you said, we're just not a Christian nation anymore. And in the same token, we're not the best nation anymore. We're not the strongest nation. And I think that those messages are really hard pills for a lot of people to swallow as they sleep nestled in their bed, ignorant of what's going on. And they need to be shaken. They need to be woken up. But unfortunately, they've just been sedated by news anchors and CNN and MSNBC telling them that if anybody tells them the truth, meaning men cannot get pregnant, you should not be sex changing on children, we are not the strongest military anymore, because a lot of men, enrollment is completely down because they don't want to report to a trans admiral. Like we do not have enough ships. If China were to start a war in the sea, we would not be able to fight. And we would be like, if you start to tell these people the truth, then you start to look like the bad guy. These are enemies to the truth. And I don't know how, as a politician, you tell them the truth. So you just have to tell them a lie that hopefully is, I mean seriously, you have to. That's why I said, like, even with Trump, like, you have to lie to these people. I mean, the blacks want to hear about the HBCUs, even though we all know. I went to a HBCU. We all know what happens on HBCUs, indoctrination camps. You don't learn a single thing. I came out of that HBU, so God bless, I had a good time. I learned a lot about myself, but I could not compete with the skills that I had at my HBCU. That is a fact. That is a fact. I had to gain those skills. Like, they don't want to hear that stuff. They don't want to hear that I do tax cuts for the wealthy, because you guys, you blacks and you Hispanics, are low skills. I tell everybody, God bless Walmart. I know you don't agree with that, Chad, but God bless Walmart. I would pay some of the people that Walmart hires, I would pay them not to show up. Literally, I would pay them to don't come, because of the way that they employ these people with very little skills to do menial jobs to at least take care of their family. I guess that's where I kind of differ with you guys. I know you guys are true Bible believers, that when a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat. But I kind of look at it like, what are we gonna do with these people who have no skills in any, like, what are we
Let
gonna?
them figure it out. That's on
They
them.
won't. They won't.
Okay, well, so here's the thing. The most character building, um, mechanism in the world is being out on your own with no one else to depend on, and no policy to depend on, or anything of that nature. You'll do one of two things. You'll still kill and cheat, or you'll do the honorable thing and make, work from the ground up to make a living. And in doing so, you'll make yourself a better man.
Yeah.
Now, if you decide to do the former, we have a place for you. It's called jail. That's just, if I had an island and I was king of that island, there won't be no such thing as welfare. There won't be no such thing as handouts. There won't be no such thing as the government having a responsibility to create jobs. None of that. Like, you are on your own. It will be a true meritocratic society. And if you call yourself trying to steal, or trying to make a come up in a dishonest way, you'll either be exiled from the island or you're going to prison. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
But if you want to live amongst the people, then you had better do so in an honest way. You had better make a living for yourself in an honest way. Whenever you don't have anyone else to depend on, and you don't have any like welfare program or policy that's going to bail you out, you'll find a way to make ends meet. I don't really give my own story on how I used to be homeless and how I used to not have a place to call home.
Wow.
And it wasn't until having experienced that I realized, man, if I want to make my way in this world, I had better get myself to work. I'd better start using these hands of mine. Like, I can say that from like true like experience. So that's the reason why I don't have any kind of
Sympathy,
tolerance, if you will, or sympathy for someone who is lazy, someone who makes excuses. I have no tolerance for it at all, because I've been there and I've done that.
Yeah.
So no, I don't. If you want to be lazy and you are going to be a looter and a leech on society, I don't feel that it should then be the government's responsibility to try to come up for, a place for you. I think we should make a place for you, and that place should be called prison. Genuinely.
Or how about forced labor?
Yeah,
I'm with that. I agree with that. That I agree with. I believe in that. I do.
Well, if you think about it, though, honestly, if we're thinking about it from a productive standpoint, wouldn't it make sense to, if folks just want to free off of society, you actually make them earn it. The Bible talks about charity, feeding the hungry and clothing the naked. But as far as to me, that's in context with you being on hard times. That's not a perpetual state of you just constantly without food and clothes. No. I think that maybe that people should be forced to work. If you want to be a criminal, you want to be a degenerate, you want to come and take from society, now we're going to make you get a trade and work. And if you don't, then you just going, off with his head.
I agree.